Let's go.
Good day, friends, neighbors, and opponents. Although I would say from the get-go, I don't feel that I'm the opponent of anybody in this crowd. You may feel differently, and I respect your right to do so. But before I dive into the WikiLeaks-related controversy, I want to go back to a story that is very similar to several of the ones that have been told here just now. In 2003, I was arrested by the FBI. I was given basically the same talk. Hey, you know what would really be cool if you added all of your friends to us as being career criminals. And I did not do that. You can hop onto Pacer and you can get the court transcripts, and what you will find is that I allocated responsibility because I believe people own their actions. Some of you may have been here last night for the screening of the film Hackers Wanted. What I was doing at that time is what I do believe Private First Class Manning was doing, which is acting one's conscience. In my case, I wanted to set a precedent whereby hackers could approach corporations and have the outcome be positive, have the outcome be one where corporations walked away saying, hey, you know what, that wasn't so bad. These hacker people can actually help us. They're not all out to get us. The New York Times Corporation disagreed. They pressed charges, as I always said that I did. I pled guilty because I was guilty. That was my acceptance of responsibility. Fast forward a couple of years, one in a long series of people sent me a random instant message saying, hey, have a look at what I did. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, I'll get to that, because a lot of people do approach me with information about their ongoing computer hacking. When that hacking involves things that are actually genuinely cool and interesting, I'll say, hey, sure, tell me more, I'm interested. When it involves crimes, be they financial or otherwise hurtful to actual individuals in the real world, but not life-threatening, I'll tell them, hey, shut the hell up and let me put you in touch with this attorney I know. In this case, I didn't really have either of those two choices because the die was already cast. I was made aware that over 250,000 documents had been allegedly leaked that were classified State Department cables. They had been sent to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks had a presence here at this conference. I think that they gave an interesting talk. But conspicuously, they didn't mention those cables. And I can't really say why that is. I'm operating on about 3 hours of sleep, and I didn't know up until right before this was happening that I was going to be talking. So please forgive me if I've come off a little bit rough. The information that was allocated to me via instant messenger was that information had been downloaded to cables, essentially a whole fracking lot of cables, more cables, cables in this case being an anachronism for the diplomatic version of email, had been downloaded onto a computer in Iraq that has then used another route to submit them to WikiLeaks. Is there anybody here in this audience that thinks that they could go through 250,000 multi-page documents that contain classified information about diplomacy throughout the world and say for certain that it's not going to cost anybody's life? Anyone? in that case, I felt compelled. Compelled, I don't believe, is too strong a word.
What did you feel compelling? In what way did you feel people would put at risk?
There are a number of ways in which that information could put people at risk. The State Department is involved in a number of intelligence operations throughout the world. They're not supposed to be, but they're looking out for the interests of Americans. And
the State Department activities put other people.
Okay, you'll have your say. Okay, we'll take some questions.
I'll be open for Q&A, and I think the Q&A is probably the most important thing because you guys know better than I do what you want to know.
We'll be handing out darts and bows and arrows.
Also, if anybody thought to bring pitchforks and maybe some torches, that would be cool too.
If people want to ask questions, they can line up behind the second microphone there. Second microphone. And leave your weapons behind. But let Adrian finish first.
As I was stating, State Department operations throughout the world involve both American intelligence activities and the activities of American tourists and travelers abroad. If you assume the most innocent possible scenario, that it would do nothing but make the U.S. look bad in countries abroad, that would still leave people sitting high and dry if they need consular assistance, if they were arrested abroad by a country that suddenly decided that they weren't too friendly with the U.S. anymore. If you assume the worst possible scenario, that it actually does expose the identities of people involved in intelligence operations, or even have the appearance of being involved in intelligence operations by being employees of consulates, missions, and embassies abroad, then you have the very real possibility that lives will be lost.